towards this split here after the success they've had throughout the year. They've obviously, you know, I'm not going to say entirely rebuilding, but
it is definitely a big change.
Yeah.
What they had before.
Like, you lose the roster that was fighting and knocking on the doors. You have some of the changes come through, and you know, mixed sort of bags of success where they've gone on to either way. It's how long they have to grow, how long, as Leon put it on his sort of winners interview in the last game last week, they're getting used to how he calls. There's a lot of voices, and that's going to be that tricky learning experience for anybody as you get used to the rhythm of a team when you still have the core of it around.
Yeah, that's always it. Deepak, of course, has a lot of experience with like cores sticking around. Like, he's basically back in the day on Challenger League, played with the same core for like 3-4 years and always having like these new members coming in. So same for Cryan, like both of them very, very adept for it. But it just takes some time before everything just connects again, and surely they will be back sooner rather than later.
Cryan's a bit sleepy. How many people did that just make yawn at home?
See, I had my wrist over it, so I didn't see it.
You didn't
catch me.
Didn't catch you. Didn't catch me because I'm
built different.
Full of caffeine and sugar, if that counts, to shout all evening. But I assume a lot of people at home just also yawned.
Yes. Anybody in the desk yawned? No.
No, they're too busy on their phones, texting each other about how great they think they did. They did do great. They're not listening. They're not listening. Hey, you want a Sprabuni?
There it is. So, cannot get first place for either of these two. You might be wondering, well, why? I mean, there's still, you know, this game and the next one. Well,
you might be wondering,
there's
why?
a team called Wild. They won everything. They're done already. They have a break now.
Done, packed up, gone home.
Get to watch. And that means that they find themselves on that confirmed first place. No one else can get it. MNM is the only team here, though, that can find themselves in the top 3 confirmed position at the end of today. All they need is just any given win.
Yeah, obviously you're sort of looking at Wild being pretty triumphant. The fact that Koi and Secret, they've taken sort of successes throughout the run, but they've not been the full fat here. This can do that bit of the difference, that bit of a distance here. It's down to Koi to try and prove lessons learned. Starting here on club, starting here on the top with the rotates all the way down. They have their routes through, they have the run that they want to make, and it's going to be the attention paid for of them. Currently playing around on the top floor-ish, if you count Leon. Only one of them down on the site, which is Deepak as the back line. They're playing a very extended hold here. How much attention are Eminem going to pay to it? The first is Noodle, who suffers on the slink around. I'm not entirely sure. I think that was just on the window. Yeah, the bedroom window.
Yep, rotating back in from construction. He's going to do it again. All right, well. Living dangerously, Noodle. Going to stay alive, sees the V-wall gets opened up. Now, this is just, you know, some preparative work. They want to get control of that top floor before they start heading down. However, Koi is very aggressive up on that top floor. There's 3 players currently out there. E1D will at least expose one of them just for a moment there, and thus now the entirety of MNM is starting to collapse on them, but they've seen some tracers. They know of Leader's existence. But Noodle able to find that very first either way.
Yeah, Noodle tucked in on a dangerous position. Sure, they're catching the rotate, but there's the worst one to catch. Solotov, he was ready for them if they came back via the building itself. He was ready for them if they came out outside the building. Just misses the Oryx. There's the E1D. Leader's still holding on to the fight. The flashes come through behind the spray of it. They're locked in, and Leader, just as the clarity at the end of that flash to take care of Nello. Cryan caught on the rotate. Naif with an important drop on the hatch to get that fight back. A lot of attention here, as I said, on the top floor. It's a 3 versus 3, though, and that's all happened 2 stories away from the site itself, with hatches that are kaided, with one of your hard breach and your Iana gone. You've still got some of the pieces you could try and puzzle against this hold, but not the entirety of it. Leon.
No, MNM have decided to not go for Thatcher, but instead EMP grenades on Yuzus. And, you know, they have 2 of them. They just need to find out where the claw exactly is placed before they start opening up. It's actually Nave trying to do it with single shots. Managed to get the claw with this, just that single X-Kairos. And that means that the kitchen hatch now is going to be opening up fully. I don't think there's anything left in pocket they can try and use except for Leader's impacts, but well, that's not going to be in time as well. And thus Deepak will have to rotate out. A Capcan Trap will find Nave. That's not ideal. It's a very cheeky spot out there. It often doesn't get checked.
Yeah, it's a swing door, obviously, and it's stuck inside the machine. They've got themselves the width here onto the Moto drop. Leon, he's just on the other side of this. That'll give him the bulletproof, but there's a grenade that had an idea, and it goes right under his feet. Plays his life for the kill, and trusts his team to get the last, and they do. Koi open us up with the first round.
Solid first round, so I was taking
That was muted. You guys didn't get the full of that? He sounded quite panicked because he said, "Salt!"
And
then he realized he was muted.
I was drinking, so I had myself muted so none of you hear my my ASMR sipping noise.
What?
ASMR? You
I know that I'm
familiar with that?
I am familiar with ASMR.
Okay, well.
I'm subscribed to Milosh's ASMR channel.
Same. Honestly. Hidden gem on twitch.tv.
Great content.
Great.
Koi pulled the first round. They had what was an aggressive lead in there. Eminem kept on having seconds and moments and responses. They knew what they wanted to do, which was hunt down those loose players, but they were just a step ahead there, Koi. The cap can obviously being a pretty big blow, a pretty detrimental moment.
It's like a gamble they play with, right, Koi? Like, they put down those cap contraptions, like, it maybe get someone, it might not get someone. Like, there's a Schroeder skill to some extent.
Yeah.
And they just didn't check it, but that's not going to be working again.
3 prep.
Yeah, it's going to be more of it.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Imagine if he accidentally broke it.
It's 9 now, right? Because they changed it down. Like, it was more. Quickly look it over towards Fresh. 9 punches for a cap?
Fresh doesn't play Castle.
Okay, well,
Fresh plays IQ without the gadget on the other side of the map and tries to find gunfights.
yeah, with a suppressor on the 552 command now. So
they don't know where he's coming from.
shoots a window. Then
We asked him this earlier.
Yeah.
They've got themselves these army barricades inside the site itself. The Solus is obviously removed, swapped around. They're not going to try and go for the hero plays underneath. We've seen a couple of teams attempt successfully or unsuccessfully. There's a quick bit of pace towards Garage, towards the CC wall. Noodle slips his way close. Please don't hang around there before you suddenly find yourselves entirely surrounded. You assume as soon as the exothermic kicks in, he will be gone. The Flores is forcing that movement as well. Kills Crying. Other side of a soft wall, I assume. Crying punished. Was he on a cam? Either way, he's only on cams now.
I'm not sure if you get the notification that there's a drone nearby if it's on the other side of the wall, so
You have to go by audio, I suppose.
and maybe you just ran into it as it exploded.
Oh, look at
something like
this. Tyrant is watching with the drone above. Leon is caught out by Solotov in the meantime. They do have almost an isolated fight, but Leader thinks better of it. It's a bit too quiet, and instead he's going to rotate his way back round to the sites. The three of them can at least try and hold on to the angles that they still have. Eminem, they got a good lead in on the first. Not a kill they expected, but one they're obviously going to take. And the second was that follow-up through the Izami gone. Someone who gets more powerful as the round continues. Deepak. He's tucked himself in, waiting for maybe an approach into the window. That Flores drone is caught out. He wants to maybe find a fight. That mattress is surprisingly solid against bullets.
That's a plate right behind it. That's actually the one that's catching the bullets out there, I believe. But
I don't know. Could be the bed.
Could be the bed as well. Who knows? Maybe it's just like one of those sturdy mattresses.
Yeah.
That do not give in whatsoever. But a minute is left on the clock. Some breaches are happening. You hear the Excaros popping off and opening up some castle barricades here and there. The thing is, there's a minute left on the clock. It's a lot of time to work with, especially if you take down Leader. Now the swing comes in from the balconies as well, and you're in that 2v5, not really having anything to play with here as Koi. You just gotta hope that Eminem make big mistakes right now. They give you these 1v1s. Well, it's just only up Deepak against the entirety of Eminem right now.
I mean, this has been fantastic from Eminem. They knew where they wanted to go. And the perfect response towards the first round is that second take. It was, as I said, you know, you never expect to get a kill with a Flores drone. Nobody does.
There should always be enough time to run away if that starts detonating on you.
In the entirety of Tier 1, we've had less than 10, I think I can say confidently, across the whole world. We've maybe had about 3 in EU.
I think, I don't think it's been more than 10. That's over like NA, EU, Brazil, and APAC days. Anyway, we continue.
Thanks for doubling down on my point.
I'm just you know, double confirming. Did we forget any region where it might have happened?
Well,
we've got a lot more regions now.
Yeah, there's 10, 11 technical leagues, I think, in progress.
That was 9. 9, 10, 11. So many of them now. Let me just.
Okay, I'm going to cut away from your counting content for now and go back to how they're doubling down on the whole same ops, same ideas. The slight swing here might be obviously trying to waste a little bit more time. Noodle is obviously taking up the mantle of the castle. Leader is instead going to find themselves on the mute. They want to cut down the drone game. They want to hope that either the Flores will get slowed down, which has not found its way through. A different hold and a different take is coming through from Eminem as well as the sort of perfect response, maybe specifically against the mute that has found its way into the roster, but more specifically, it's our B take. Let's see what we can bring on it. I assume some Jacuzzi presence. I assume some fight onto Logi Hatch and onto the break there. Through, you've got a fuse. Where are you going to use him?
It's always the big question. It's definitely not going to be on these council barricades as they're gone. They just got blown up beautifully in time. So what you're going to probably do is the hatch, maybe from logistics. I mean, it could be quite dangerous if you start placing it down there, because Leader, you know, could just go in with a shotgun and basically send your way down inside of logistics. It could be in tandem with opening up here on the wall. EMP comes through, that's always a good option. Actually, that stops him from banner tricking.
Oh, the fuse is going off. It drives itself through. They pre-fire it, but it ensures the thermite charge will go down. Cryin does get Tyrant, though. From underneath, potentially. Oh, it's the Oryx. So, yeah, he's got an angle from that window. Dropped him maybe on the rappel up, which is why he's dropped himself down to that location, just next to the double broken window. A little bit of a loss. The Thatcher's gone. They do get maybe the most important wall gone from it. However, there's still a lot of hard breach left to do, and it's going to start here. CC, the driver, the fuse, the can opener is the secondary in the pocket, and some attention paid towards this. The hold inside the bathroom as well gets removed, even with Deepek having 2 bandit charges in pocket.
Probably didn't feel safe rotating around or anything like that. Actually, as I talk about not feeling safe, he gets injured.
No, definitely didn't feel safe.
Definitely not safe. I think it was a grenade that rolled around the corner and actually just enough to put him in the DBNO state. Now, the rest is going to be opened up as well onto the bathroom. I think. Is that fully breached? No, that doesn't look like that's going to be walkable.
Maybe. Right down the middle, maybe.
Maybe if you're a bit lucky there. Either way, there is an opening, which they're going to be trying to work with. Cryin gets another kill. Solotov to jump in from Nella onto the site. Happens in the meantime as well, where he will find Noodle.
And now they've suddenly found themselves inside the site. There's the single hard wall and the hefty chassis of the gym equipment, but Koi aren't in a position to react to this. There's pressure coming from construction door, which is being held off by Nello in a post plant. They've now got the eyes on, and Users gets the long lockdown with Nello getting one more. Koi, for all the kills they got on the top and the bottom of the map, they're suddenly just with Deepek left, a 1 versus 2. Gets the one outside Jacuzzi, looks for the second fight there, tucks round. There's a big rotate that's happened towards the side of Jacuzzi. The C4 won't get the full kill. MNM, they saw an opportunity. They sort of realized, listen, we've just lost somebody all the way down on the bottom. It's technically a 3 versus 4. There's nobody maybe underneath the billiards. We know where everyone else is. Let's just go for a plant. And it worked.
It's not just that, right? It's also at the same time, like, they've opened a bathroom. There's nothing really happening there. There's no one trying to put up a fight. So Nello's like, well, that's just a free entry then, right? Like, that's free space we can take. So they take it. And then, exactly, take it. Go for that plant. Nothing quite could do, because they're just not in a position to actually try and counter. And now we'll head back down below towards church. And if I heard correctly, Anne said is that Koi needs to be working on their defense with this new roster as well, especially as they picked it first. That does mean we're expecting 3 rounds of them at least, if that's what we're going to be aiming for here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing there is, you know, if, as I sort of highlighted from what they said, if communication was a problem, communication was something that they wanted to fix,
yeah,
there is an example of it slightly falling apart. They're getting these kills on the other side of the map, but there isn't this watch directly through onto the site itself. They've lost the control of underneath. They had a 2-person advantage when that came through. And yeah, obviously one of them had gone down and been picked back up. Deepex, they were slightly out of position, but the position was logistics that they were slightly out of. There was still all of that play space around the site and underneath that just sort of filtered away from them there. And hey, MNM, they saw an opportunity and they took it.
You definitely cannot blame Eminem there. Like, you know, you can get those kills on the opposite side of the map, but that doesn't really matter if you do not have the side under lock and key, because those 3 remaining can definitely do a lot of damage as portrayed there. So Eminem, they find themselves in the lead now, losing the opening round, winning the next 2. Are now continuing onwards, back towards church. site they have lost before when they were on the attack, because, well, you can basically say to try to clear out all these roamers didn't really work out for them, but what we saw in that last round was they spotted that opportunity that not a lot of people were on the site, so they took it. Well, let me tell you something. There's only 2 players on the site currently, so what you do, you start pushing, you have someone on the flank watch to stop them from coming down the main stairs, and suddenly you have that full side under control again. Now, I'm not sure if that's what Eminem is eyeing up for, but there's definitely players in some forward positions that have the opportunity to descend. And that's what Users is doing. Slowly creeping down the main stairs. How far can he go? Kryan will find Solotov over the top again. Like, these roamers are hurting MNM so much, whilst they don't really have to deal with them in the way that they're currently dealing with them.
Users, in the meantime, is dealing with potentially the site. They've dropped onto blue as well, and not as sneaky as they thought. T-Peck has the lockdown on the other. Well, Users will at least get one on the back end, but now he's got to get the remaining 4 to find the round, and they seem to have a good awareness of just where he is, especially where the diffuser is as well, on the main stairs on the far end, even further potentially. They're sat watching, waiting, hoping, holding, and baiting. It is a very tricky position. He wants to see if he can try and lock the first fight in here onto the site itself. Cannot find it. Koi, they're 2 for 2 down on Church. They at least get that back, but the problems have sort of reared their head on Jim. Will they go back there, or will they opt for maybe Bar or even a CC?
Well, for now, it seems like Bar is going to be the side they're going for. We're also quickly going back to the game we saw Eminem play against Wild yesterday. I believe that is when Eminem was able to pull off a smoke plant with the Monty on the very opening. They took the bare minimum of what was necessary. Never mind, it changed. Okay, well, it's HTV now. Scratch everything I just said this last 10 seconds. Not important anymore until it does come around. But this is the checklist site we are always talking about. What you usually do here is you open up the wall that is currently breached. The one that Deepak is it on his drone? Yeah, he's on his camera, just checking around. Probably where the drones are coming from. Either way, the one is currently reinforcing. That's the first one you usually open up. When you've done that, you start putting pressure down onto the garage. You open up the walls behind, you start removing the player on the mezzanines where, well, those ADSs are located for, because it is just to catch off those grenades that often do come around. There is going to be a Thatcher on the board again, but remember, last time Eminem went here, they struggled getting off the opening. You need to go for double impact or double breach. Failed to do that just a little bit and opened up the wrong wall, so let's see if they have improvement in that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the sort of story, isn't it? Was you want to see that improvement from Eminem. They opted for the take. They had a Thatcherful game previously, but slightly different approach, slightly different pressure here. Leon, he's the man locked inside the top of the catwalk, holding on and waiting for the attention. They're ready to roll on the back end by the looks of it. Logistics hatch already open, getting themselves drone out towards obviously the rotate and stash side where they almost got the down onto Deepak before, but nobody is home on the gym side. Everything is otherwise free for them to get cracked open as soon as they get rid of some of those mute jammers, which they have done. Swung on the opposite end. There's the angle, there's the opener. And there's Jacuzzi falling. Noodle, he's in a bit of a tricky situation and he's not going to stay there very long.
Sort of juggle there, by the way, with the exothermic from Nello, because they weren't 100% sure if there was someone right behind it. Oh, look at this, by the way. Just beautiful rotations have already been made for the attackers, and then they just abandoned it. So it's going to be a don't mind if we do situation here for Tyrant. Just rotating in, quickly taking a lot of space. Solotov doing the exact same thing, getting some pre-fires, but not too worried. Nizami barrier there, definitely holding him back though from putting some damage on the board. So the grenade comes in, should take that out, and now he can start fighting towards the staircase.
Noodle gets himself an angle down towards the stock door as well, so no grenades can sort of slink their way up from that entrance. Tyrant's going to be the one that steps in, but he seems aware. He's going to bounce the grenade with a bit of distance right under the wall. That's what they're going for, the catch onto it. Will it get the claw? There it is, the pop of the electric onto the wall itself, and they've got to pull themselves further and further back. That is construction side falling. That is the angles and ideas of a take with all the 10 players still on the board. It's not entirely set in stone here for Eminem. They do have to try and draw some attention. They do have to get the other side, which is where Nello's going. But in the meantime, Noodle removed by Solotov. The cascade of grenades that have come through underneath have finally found the success alongside the bandit that they got before.
The issue is still Deepak being alive right here, and he hears the placement right now. Is he going to commit to it? Doesn't seem to be the case. The wall will be opened up. Nothing he can do about it. Has to fall back, but the window is being watched as well as Solotov finds Leon Gids up onto the mezzanines. The Frost Mat will find users, and that means Deepak doesn't have to worry about it.
He is going to try and worry about the fight inside. Construction gets further than I thought they thought, but now it's back and forth, and it's Deepak to win it out with the pistol. Leader takes some damage inside the site, but he's able to win out his engagement onto the downburst on the Frost Map, with Crying getting the take onto the top of red. Tyrant suddenly all that's left. 10 seconds, almost. A repeat and a bit of an error that we saw from before, but Koi, a great response towards a lot falling away from them. We sort of called it at the time. They've got these rotates. They've got all of this done on the side of gym and construction, and they weren't using it. But you need more than just that to take CCTV.
Now the bar and stage are coming out from Koi, considering the previous two are locked. Jim hasn't been too successful.
I like the combination of card backgrounds. So.
Which combination?
The top. I mean, to be fair, all of them. We're just getting some news. Yeah. Some Sprabuni-based news. There will be a new graphic with updated stats. I think there was knowledge of a rulebook that we were...
that is probably it, because the OT win is now no longer 100%. It is now a 91%. So that means MNM just need a straight-up win to confirm themselves to top 3.
Sorry about the false information. As we get information, we bring it. And this is the information we brought.
We promise this one is actually correct.
Yeah, but there was a nice sort of split of backgrounds. Some of the classic ones, the old Rogue previous Koya one. We saw some OXG ones. But we also saw the new
Cyclops
SSG one and the new Cyclops one. I love that teams get the full background design now. I'm so excited to see what the other teams do with those, other than the great ones that we've had so far.
Like last year we had the pilots, right? Like the start where you had the background, like a generic
you have the background, you
with
have
a
it
logo.
on the top left. It's nice.
But now it's fully designed by the teams itself.
So much nicer.
So all the creative minds really get together.
Because it's literally just, here's a rectangle, make it look cool. And
you're making it sound so simple. Here's a rectangle, make it look cool so people want to buy it.
But you know, there's only, like, gun skins are cool, but there's only so much visual retail space, I think, on a gun skin. Whereas these
have more than others, yes.
These, it's like, these are cool. You know?
But they are cool. No, I totally agree with you.
Good.
I'm
glad.
I'm not trying to argue it. I like operator background cards.
3-2. MNM, they're going to try and get themselves the even half here. They've opted for, as I said, slightly different take here onto bar stage. Nafe is getting the strip wall open. They've got themselves quite quick here onto strip entrance and even further in, right up to the line. And with that long kitchen corridor all the way cut through, it's the choice of, do we go for the swing on the fight and expect it? Do we give the game away, this is where we are, or do we wait for the engagement?
Gonna wait, because what they're gonna do is try to do the exact same thing they did against Wild. Smoke plant. That way, Nave currently is gonna be stopping anybody from moving in horizontally, and all they then need to do is make sure no one is gonna be dropping through that hatch. Like, this plant should be working out for MNM. Almost 100% certainty right here. Smokes are coming through. Flashbangs instantly to come through as well. Nave takes a lot of damage, but very afraid of someone coming in from below.
The reverse plant goes down. He's covered by the smoke. There's nobody with the glasses to see through it, but Cryan does find Nafe. However, now they know there's a kit down on the ground. Solotov's able to get Leon on the rotate back. They're going for the counter defuse almost instantly. Leader, he's tucked in the corner. Hey, you give it to us. We do it right back. Cryan had the cover on the swing. Leader, right place, right time, right gadget. Right round, 4-2.
I wish we had that on the replay. I just want to know, was he waiting right next to the Montaigne?
I think he was above on the construction hatch. As soon as that came through, he dropped down
instantly.
And then just tucked himself in that corner. Cryan got a kill beforehand as that all kicked together. So whether that was the cover for that exact hold on towards the stage stairs, I could not tell you unless we went back and watched it. But it was fantastically played. The kill might have been around Jacuzzi, apparently.
Yes,
the Cryan's first. The second, I guess, he dropped onto the gym hatch and had the cover from the back end. But the 2 hatch drop, the retake, I mean,
perfectly timed. They had no clue, and that's kind of the danger from planting in the smoke. It's because if someone is already in there or could drop in there, you just don't see it happening. And you're relying onto the sound calls. But the thing is, if you are calling loudly, or if a gunfight is going on, you might not actually hear those ticks until it's too late. The multi started moving in, so they were fully aware, but at that point, Koi already in a position where they could have had the cover out there, stopped them from getting the damage done. Now, MNM. Shown on defense yesterday, they know how to win gym, they know how to win the basement, but they do not know how to win CC or to play bar. So are we going to see any change in that today? At least we're starting off with Church. It is their the site they trust in the most. They have faith in, you could say. Not that it's that kind of church, but still works out. And Koi is just going to go on the attack, opening up from above, trying to clear their way systematically down, making sure there's no roamers left behind that could hurt them in the long run. Third tunnel being checked as well. They're aware of the fact that Nello is there. Noodle instantly going on the chase, wanting to give himself an opportunity to find that opening for his team. But at the same time, put down pressure. Make sure that they have to be worried about you. Potentially moving in from that position. Lido right behind him as well. So this could be a push to come through, especially since Noodle just finds Nello. That's going to be the player in third tunnel gone. There's a lot of space to be gained right now. That's exactly what Noodle's doing. He's just picking up all of it.
Here it is, the intel as it rolls all the way through. Tyrant builds himself a little bit more safety that he can set himself on, but the drone is trying to find its way around. Doesn't quite get that route. They have some of the pings towards the bottom of main. Nobody's currently there. There's a lot of pinging that's going on as a response. Koi's trying to formulate. They want to make sure that when they act next, it's going to be something with some of that lockdown. With Eminem being a little bit mobile, there's a little bit of wiggle room. Do they know where they want to go for the roll? This grenade should clear. One, maybe two of those as armies. Gets one of the low ones, doesn't get the high one. Tyrant, he's able to keep it rebuilt, keep himself in the power position, and well, they still have the option to try and roll one or two more of those, but they don't want to risk the narrow firefight that it is. They know they have the man advantage. Why try and force ourselves to what is a very dangerous door and corner?
Noodle just has left the dirt tunnel, is going to be moving himself over towards the main stairs. Grenades are still being explored as Nate finds D-back. That's going to be hurting for them, as that's also the diffuser dropped on the ground now. It's going to be easily recoverable. It's not going to be the end of the world or this attack here, but still, you lost that man advantage you managed to get. And there's only 30 seconds left on the clock now, so what are you going to be doing? How are you going to be able to get this plan to go your way? Well, this grenade should be the first answer, but it gets eaten by the ADS. The shots do not connect up until the second attempt, and now Blue is ripe to take.
The pre-fire and the flood down on the back end. They're in main stairs. They're onto Blue. Leon takes a shred of damage here. They're all eyes. They're onto it, and Cryan's able to win it out. But the drive of the site and the kit is on the opposite end. There's two down, though. There's suddenly Tyrant and Nath doing all the business. It is just Noodle and Nathan Tyrant lock the door at the most important part. They had eyes on where the kit was going. They only had eyes for the sites. And that was what came together. MNM, they find a round with the advantage not really in their favor when the final push was, but how close were they to doing that many, many times yesterday?
That's it. Yesterday they got so close, just weren't able to convert it every single time. So it goes their way this time around. Now they try and get it their way again. Mentioned it before. They knew how to defend Church. They knew how to defend Gym. The trouble didn't come in until CCTV was played. So MNM, again, they will find themselves in a good spot. The castles are going to be used to allow Nello to go for a bandit trick relatively safe. Only thing you would have to worry about is either A, do the walls get opened up from the highway, from the balcony outside, or B, would a grenade come through underneath? And then when I say that, a full repick comes in from Koi. See Thatcher, a Sense, and a Ying, which could indicate that as soon as they got that wall opened up, explosions will happen all over the site. Not just by explosions in fragmentation, but also flashbangs.
I guess that's the thing. When you sort of see this combination of operators and you see that there's nobody playing the Warden on the opposite end, there's a lot of possibility here for danger and damage to come through. A Sense Wall is far from the easiest to use gadget in this game. Not that it's not easy to press the button and roll it in a direction you like, but there is no guarantee that that will continue to roll in the direction that you wanted it to. And then it hits a wall, bounces, and suddenly everything is chaotic. There's a quick break and breach there onto the logistics hatch. They're paying some attention towards CC at the same time. They're cutting off the rotate before they cut the pressure onto CC. That's the important combination here. Now, if Usus wants to rotate out, he's got to be cautious of the chance of just being watched and just being dropped down. Tyrant, in the meantime, he's also on the CC side. There's a rotate from Nafe to offer some support, but Koi, they're happy to wait, reevaluate, be in a safe spot, and maybe pay attention towards Jacuzzi.
3 players off site. Only Solotov and Nello are there. So if they do find the opportunity to go for the explosion, which should be very much possible, given the fact that Bandit is not close enough to stop this from happening, this EMP will make that wall open up. And that does mean Deepak, together with Diana and Noodle on the Thermite, will probably have the opportunity to instantly gain some ground here.
Nello rotates his way back in. The castle's still there. He might lose his ankles underneath it if Deepak gets the eye on the drone, but pulls himself just away in time back towards the bathroom. You can see Usus wants to make the rotate closer, but look at this. All the Koi drones are focused on this take here on the back end. The castle stopping them getting the straight route through onto the site is probably the big risk they're trying to get the assessment on before. Nello is back and forthing towards it. There's a stop there on the main stairs, but when is this push going to come to a shove? Leader is ready and holding. It's a 3-2-1 count break. You can see they're still looking for the fight under the castle walls. Noodle was trying to see the feet of Nello. Couldn't get the angle. Deepak's going to get the drone through and sort of just confirm it. They've hopped in. They're going across. There comes the blinds, and there goes the push into the bathroom. They go for the scrappy fight. They find themselves all the way through onto Stash. He's gone low, and he's still able to win the fight out. They're watching for the rotate. Nafe finds Noodle in the meantime. The sense wall is cut across the site itself. There's the second one to roll it. But with this, the gap, as I said, it's pretty much impossible to always continue to get the same result every time you roll it. There, the spray over the top, the players dipped out. They've gone all the way down in amongst the blind. They found some of the gap onto the site, and Deepak, he's able to get that important kill before they get this, the last. They throw that right onto the cam. It's suddenly just Nafe left. Screams his way up the stairs, is able to loop his way. They're down low watching. He goes for the rotate on the opposite end, is going to hit the bathroom instead. He's looking for the cover. It's a pre-fire fight from Cryin and Koi. They find that response to the previous round. They find themselves actually getting some success on Jim.
Find the attack, now find themselves on 5, 2 rounds away. And MNM will now play bar stage. They haven't done it last time around. Actually might still change because the tactical timeout is coming through. So they're going to have a bit of a chat. All right, what do we need to do? What's going wrong? How are we going to be able to find 3 rounds before Koi finds 2? Because in overtime, I mean, it might not be enough to confirm them for top 3. It's definitely bringing them most of the way there. And what we saw is MNM on the basement were able to hold on to that stronghold, right? It was a 2v4/2v5 clutch they had, managed to do that successfully, well played by them. But what Koi realized here, it's like, okay, so we have 3 people on the other side of the map. There's only 2 on the direct side. One of them is in logistics. We can cut down the rotation with sense to stop them from directly moving back in. So as soon as they got that killed, so much just opens up. Like the back stairs open up, the back hallway opens up. You can take a Logi in that moment in time. And all you need to do is just find the angle on the player and Jim. And that's exactly what they did. Team play on point there, holding out the rotations, making sure the only way they could come back up was the main stairs, which is a very long rotate around if you're all the way around cash construction.
Oh yeah, it's not quick. It's not a quick map for that sort of play. There's, you know, 2 hefty staircases either side towards the top floor, and one of them has the route all the way down towards the other side. There's some hatches you can maybe try and do some damage through. But if you're doing that, you've got to have a lot of knowledge. And if you look towards where they planted, it's the one bit where you cannot be hurt from underneath. Apart from maybe the bed, but still, they're on that cement, they're on that concrete in the corner, yes, right by Stash Hop, they're safe there. So they sort of forced the fight, forced the rotate, and it was very well put together. MNM, as you said, they've had their timeout. They've got a slightly different hold here across the board, and you assume maybe a bit more relative attention paid towards the site, and also the Warden, we said, would be probably quite nice in the previous round.
Yes, it would have been nice to have with all the flashbangs to come through, especially if you were playing in logistics. Uses is exactly playing out there because he knows it's going to be like one of those like high impactful areas. It's like the mezzanines for CCTV hold. Oh, that's a C4 prepped. Camera's waiting until someone walks in. As soon as that gets confirmed, that C4 gets tossed out. And Cryin should be picked up. Now, he hasn't heard the rip, considering it already happened, but he just sees the Koyo out there, and he's like, ah!
Hey, man.
But there's already a player going down the new blue stairs, I believe, so he might be caught off, Nave, as he's actually getting inside of a gunfight. Survives, gets past, and is able to rotate back out. Noodle unable to find the confirmation. And Nave, he's going to stay downstairs, actually, goes inside of the dirt tunnel. He's like, I'll be back later. It's fine, like, we can have a bit of a fight now and then return that favor later.
Okay, Koi, you are one away from getting this locked in, but that is not the way to start it. Leon got out on construction window. Tyrant able to get that early kill. As I said on the previous take here, you sort of cut off the rotate and then try and cut the pressure in half. Here, they've found themselves caught out. Eminem, they needed to learn from that. They needed to realize that they can play that. They've even got the one super loose player here, the roam of Nafe, still underneath, still drawing attention, even though he was very early to be caught. From the cam, the fact that he hasn't really truly given up the territory, it means they've still got to try and get him. Or they've got to try and force the fight in the 4 versus 4, which, you know, that's when mistakes start to maybe happen.
They've seen him go on for the rotate, and some also go back, so they know they don't have to worry about him now. Cryan has an opportunity to take himself towards the construction and then go for logistics, as the wall or the doorway to the bedroom has been locked up by a keeper barrier, so he doesn't have to be afraid from someone coming from his back. And that means they can now try and work on getting control of logistics, but Nafe down below with that C4 is going to be throwing a spanner in the works, because as soon as this drop comes down and the frag actually doesn't connect, that's a missed drone grenade right there. Solotov now close and know exactly where he is. It's going to be Noodle that gets blown up.
Well, it's Deepak that gets shot up, and it's the swing onto Solotov that doesn't quite net it, but the drop on the logistic hatch can only get one before Users pops around the corner and can't get any further because of his own team's fire. But Nafe has the cover that they need, and Cryan has 4 players, 20 seconds, and 1 grenade to his name. Without a diffuser and without too much after this fades, you're not assuming the most. Hey, there's a player. The fire just seems never ending at this point. But it's the final take. There's one. They don't need to hand him anything else. They've handed themselves the round. 5-4. MNM, they bounce back on their gym. Church has reopened. They could pull themselves back level.
And I'm almost willing to bet on it that they are going back to Church. They're not going to be trying to go for a completely different site right now and risk Koi getting to a match point. They want to get it as close as they possibly can. And indeed, Church is being brought out now. And as we see that happen, Koi have an opportunity to adapt to the previous time they saw this happen, because it wasn't like MNM was having a clear lockout of the round. It was actually Koi that was in the advantage for the majority of it, but weren't able to find those last 2 strongholds, as they used all those grenades to get rid of the keeper barriers, but weren't able to find the players right behind them. So that must change now. And how are you going to be doing that? The Ing gets brought out by leader. The Warden is nowhere to be seen on the side of MNM, so it could be a good call to bring. No Thatcher to be played. There is a Cade Claw, but we've seen it previously. They've managed to get rid of it by just firing a single Excalibur pellet right next to the hatch and blow it up with a bit of shrapnel that comes out the other side. Because all it takes is just a single point of damage and you remove a piece of utility. So explosions, always a good way to get rid of them.
Koi, what's the change up here down onto the basement? They had a bit of the control, if you recall. It was the 2 versus 4. It was the pressure onto the AKs and the change here. So MNM, they're not entirely out of the woods yet. A heroic stand was what got them the round, and in a way, it should really be map point right now, but they've stemmed the flood so far. They've grown from it, obviously, on their gym hold. Seems like Koi, they're going for a much more direct approach on the back end. Tyrant does suffer a little bit, rotating down main stairs, back towards the site. He's evacuating kitchen corridor and the hole that's otherwise there. Instead of going for the full clear onto the top floor, they're trusting Eminem's got a pretty standard setup down below, and otherwise not too much on the flank and the roam, which they're correct.
Camera taken out quickly. Sure, there's no more information to be gained based on the camera and what it sees and what sound it generates. And Leon continues to open up above. Maybe you'll find something. Maybe you just push someone the wrong way and you have an angle to pick him up from. Either way, Koi are trying to formulate an attack. There's still 2 minutes. They don't have to worry about any of the roamers, as all of them are on the site. The big boy turtle is in effect, which is actually, I think, the game against Wild as well. We dubbed it the big boy turtle. It's just them doing the exact same thing again. Players stuck behind the boiler. A grenade will be a beautiful tool to try and get rid of them, but there will be ADSs right behind it as well, so how successful will it be? Well, not without any of these flashbangs to fly through, which is exactly what they're doing! But Nave just swings and finds the pack and the danger on Leon Gids. Beautifully played by him.
I mean, read the game and read the play there. A great takedown onto them. Almost got 2, but 1.5 will do. Leon with the drop and the grenade on the back end does not find anything. We still have 1 more, but with that hatch being the only puzzle piece they've opened up so far, and with the only hard breach they've got left in the pocket of leader, how is this going to turn into the fight onto the site? They've got themselves stacked up. There's the roll of Candelas ready to go. They're inside the site, but he loses the swing against users there. The Candela goes close, the second goes a bit deeper, the third and the fourth go even deeper. Nello wins out on Leon, gets the rest of him, and the smoke canister just stops the approach. Perfectly played there by MNM. They made sure that they knew where the push was coming from, and they cut it off before it could turn into anything too dangerous. Solotov is at least removed from the back of the blue box, but there's a lot more than just that to clear on the utility, and Nafe, he's more than happy to swing there with a hefty hitting rifle. We have Cryin once again with 20 seconds and 4 M&M players to have to try and drive through here. 2 rounds in a row that this has now happened to Koi. You assume at the end of this one, in about 6 seconds, we are going to have a timeout.
I've already written it down as a timeout in my notes right here. It must be, because Cryin is first of all taking his time. He's not actually going to go for the try here, and rightfully so. I mean, it is painful when you try and get that grenade in there, you're wasting utility, and you just get swung on by the TCSG shotgun, and both of you lose your lives.
There it is.
As expected. 5-5, important round right now. Koi have the opportunity to fight back because both Jim and Church have been locked off. Means MNM will be forced to go to a tertiary site, which is where yesterday against Wild, they weren't able to find any success. So, a very important round for them. It's like, we need to win this one to first of all secure ourselves a point, which increases our chances of making it to stage 2.
Yep.
But more importantly, to have ourselves with an opportunity that if we are able to crack Jim, which is the next one to unlock, which they've already done before, they can take the full 3.
You don't want to be the team that's playing for scraps. You don't want to be the second team to make it there, even if you are trying to push your way into OT. You don't want to be not the confirmed runner-up, but close enough to it and close enough towards the pressure that's coming through. And that's it. That's this moment now. M&M, they've done fantastic after their timeout. They've taken 2 rounds to level themselves back up. They've kept themselves off the brink of map point, but they are still on the brink of map point. You've got a couple of players popping off huge. Cryin and Nafe either side of it. 11-4, 10-5. And there, it's just that sort of dig in. It's getting the teeth and trying to get something of it. The wrested control that Koi has had earlier on in this game has sort of filtered away.
Luckily for Koi, MNM weren't quite adept at holding onto the garage here yesterday when they played against Wild. So that should be their focus. It's the weak points. That is what you try and leverage right now. Because if you get garage, it's a direct entry to the site, and you can start working with that. At the same time, you got to make sure you open up that wall. It's something MNM have struggled with in the past. So if you manage to open that, you increase your own chances of success massively. Now, all 4 walls are going to be electrified on the side of the garage. Also, at the same time, we have Nello active on the actual breach. So, going to have to make some use of EMPs there, which aren't actually on the board, which means Leon gets a lot more important with the blowtorch.
I was going to say, I don't know if they were hiding the Kaid there. He was
They were
tucked. They waited for the wall to go. They waited for everything to be done on the round start, and then they threw the claws. But look at where the Kaid was, and suddenly they realized, well, we've got a lot more to do with just a Maverick, and they've played against the idea of the attacker repick there. They're not going to be able to truly get everything open. And sure, if you're unaware of Leon's YouTube, he does do tips on how to use the Maverick torch. Now's the time to bring those to action.
Leon upside down. It's going to be opening the bottom line, which is going to be making it very difficult for the Bandit player to be out there, but we'll have to tank some damage as a result. Now the damage is there, the opening is there as well, and you see the rotations already coming around. The Bandit doesn't want to stick around, and that allows for an upside down opening for Leader if he wants to.
It's tricky. What they're trying to do there is just open the lines. You can sort of get on the rappel, maybe shoot out the bandit batteries, but he knows how much he's got in the canister and he knows how much there is left to get open. He cannot sit around and try and play drawings on that wall for as long as they need to. There's multiple ways to put the pressure onto that wall. They have those multiple potential options. They have the grenades of Cryin. If they get in underneath, they have the Ash Breach of Noodle, but to be honest, Noodle seems a little bit more focused on the direct push onto the site itself. The drones come through, Noodle comes through, he's able to get one, just swung onto Nello, suffered a bite back, I think from the top of red, but slipping himself away, paying attention towards the chance at the rotate coming around on the back end. They're getting themselves the width here. Solotov underneath is the Solace. Is looking towards who's on what, who's on where. That one's 2 out of range for the catch, and they'll just sort of wait underneath for now.
Grenade kill comes through, and that means Solotov now is sort of forced to start doing something, because if he stays off site, well, his friends, his colleagues are just going to be overran on it. Tarn is thinking about hopping back through the window, but the flashbangs come through. He's trying to take the fight. Now definitely shouldn't be able to just pass here, but he still does. As he gets himself in a more aggressive position, Nave drops a 5v2. Koi almost full control of taking this as Solotov tried to rotate back up. Tyrant comes in for the support. Takes a second one down as well. A 2-on-3 now active. Leader takes a lot of damage, not quite sure from where, as the Pokeball will confirm the kill onto Leon Gids.
Deepak with an important bite back. Solotov has barely any health, but he makes a bit of use of it. He's trying to find the next fight and somehow screams over the head of Leader.
Solace.
Deepak versus Solotov. A Solace, as you said, is gone underneath. They have the kit. They have to hop up somewhere safe, but it's down on the other end. They're trying to find the fight. They're trying to find the angle. There was a drone with a reveal, but oh no! Solace played the round. And what a round was played. Koi just could not get that final connection. And Eminem, they careen over onto map point.
Such a big advantage for Koi, and it's the second time on their attacks where they weren't able to convert them. Round 11, which we've just seen. Round 7, which was the first in church. And now we're headed back towards gym and bedroom. They've been able to crack this one before. They got to do it again if they want to go for an overtime here and pick a point. Otherwise, MNM are going to be the second team of this group to confirm themselves for the second phase of the Europe League, the playoffs. It's getting exciting now. Even more so.
It's pretty exciting.
It's pretty exciting.
I think saying it's getting exciting now.
Well, it's getting more exciting right now.
Job's not done.
Job's not done. But more of a fact that Koi should have had that. Eminem managed to get back into it. Now it's a 50-50. Like, they've won this side before. They've also lost it. Koi have portrayed. They know exactly how to attack this.
I mean, that's it. It's lessons learned here. Eminem, they've been able to get the close down in a couple of rounds. It's these sort of edge of your seat moments. It's this Eminem game that often goes against them, to the point it's quoted in a meme, but sometimes it comes together, and here it's coming together in Koi. Now they're looking to, as I said, play for scraps. They can still get the win. They can still get the 2 points. They can still do themselves some business, but it starts here with what is probably going to be a sigh of a relief if they can get this round after suffering the previous 3.
Over the top, Koi know what to do. Opening will be made as they only reinforce one of the walls. I've done that in the last time they were here as well, so I decided to go for reinforcement elsewhere, and you know that this wall will be opening up 9 out of 10 times. Bathroom will be opened up as well. Nello instantly rebuilds just a bit of it with the Kiba barrier. Doesn't want to have that wide open angle that can hurt him. He gets down below, is going to try and fish with some of these grenades. And a big change that we saw is that Users again, of course, he went to that Warden, but Leader swapped off of the actual Ying to play the Heart Breach. Which means that the Warden not as effective as it could have otherwise been, and now there is extra utility on the pockets of Koi.
They're trying to find out just where the pressure might be. I don't know if they know about the one loose player that I think is down main. Currently sort of hanging around. It's Nafe, and he's not far away from Leon. That drone rolls past, doesn't see him. He was down main. Let me correct myself. Now he's got the rotate through onto kitchen. And I don't think they know.
They don't know.
Nafe. The slow creep round. Leon, bit of a pre-fire and a fight. The grenade is coming through over the top. There's Leon caught. Nafe, he sprung the trap and was perfectly timed against Drone Intel that thought they had it. They played themselves safe. You couldn't deny it. Koi played themselves safe. But sometimes there's a frustrating corner, and sometimes siege timing works against you. And there it is. Nafi's still playing around on main stairs. He's back to that original position I called out at the start. Nello finds Noodle in the meantime. Things are starting to fall away from them. Nello has a second. Tucked around onto the door. 50 seconds. Cryan and Deepek, the front and the back of the previous roster. Cryan's able to get one. Solotov went for an aggressive swing round. Nello has the same idea. Deepek off the board. And it's another 4 versus 1 Cryan has, but this time there is no potential after. He's got to throw everything at this round. 30 seconds. And MNM still have a lot that they can play with. They still have a lot of pressure. This grenade is just going to bounce itself. Nowhere close to anybody. They know exactly where he is. I mean, Nello's already found 3 names on this single swing itself. He's waiting to get a 4th. There's the pre-fire. There's the kip. There's 10 seconds. There's Nello round on the back, and there it is. The GG is called. Nave's camera's already off. He's off. He's gone. And Eminem,
job's done.
Going. Job's done. Nah. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's an 100% rate on the Sprabuni graphic.
A 100% rate on the Sprabuni graphic. They are now going to the playoffs. Well done to them, and they deserved it. They played really well here. Of course, there was still some mistakes they made, but they definitely managed to punish Koi's more.